sets in the entire world of comics, that power repairs his muscles at an extraordinary rate, making the fibers inexhaustible, pushing him beyond the natural limits of the human body. Captain America would probably give him a beatdown, and we've already seen that Colossus can pack a punch, and Wade can take several back. Plus, in a comic, he once took a dude out with just his thumb and finger. I know, right? That takes ridiculous grip strength, so we know for sure that his hands are strong, which explains why he's known for fighting with katanas. Super hand strength allows for extra firm grip on the sword's shaft. Super agility. Another byproduct of his healing power mutation was enhanced senses for Deadpool. He was already a pretty wicked mercenary with a mouth on him before his body was ravaged by cancer and his healing power took over. In the movie, Wade Wilson takes out a creepy pizza delivery guy quickly, so it's not shocking that after he fully realizes his powers, he's pulling triple Lindy's to get triple kills. It's not like getting reflexes like Spider-Man was astonishing or spectacular, though. Deadpool has a history with Peter Parker, and the two of them probably have the longest games of Twister ever. Deadpool sharing having similar agility to Spider-Man is not accidental. In the early days of drawing Deadpool, rumor has it that some artists used older Spider-Man artwork to trace over. As other artists and writers took on the title, his acrobatic stayed. Deadpool and Spider-Man are essentially frenemies in the Marvel Universe. Not only do they share a similar color scheme,
nice to see you kept my color scheme when you copied my suit. Am I like your idol?
They've had several adventures in the comics, cartoons, and we can only hope one day on the silver screen. It's a pretty one-sided friendship, though, as Peter usually avoids Deadpool, while Wade would want nothing more than to have team-up after team-up with Spidey. Fluent in multiple languages. Deadpool doesn't always come off like the brightest bulb in the dimmest light bulb factory. Just because Deadpool does whatever his instincts tell him, and those instincts are usually wrong, doesn't mean he's not a smart cookie, or chimichanga. Before he became an anti-hero, Wade Wilson was in the military and then a soldier for hire. In order to be the best he could be, he had to learn to speak the languages of the lands he was in. After he became enhanced, it makes sense that his ability to learn languages would be increased as well.
Kung Fu Fiesta! Arriba-san!
It's not just Spanish or French he knows either. During a team-up with Hawkeye in the miniseries Hawkeye vs. Deadpool, Wade uses ASL, American Sign Language, to communicate with Clint Barton. The character's been deaf in the comics since Matt Fraction kicked off his critically acclaimed take on the Purple Archer. Deadpool often speaks Spanish, German, Japanese, and more in the comics. Plus, he's traveled the galaxy, surely picking up a few different alien dialects as well. We're not even including the ability to talk to himself. Throughout his run in the comics, Deadpool has 2 and even 3 inner monologues happening along with his own dialogue, crowding panels with joke after joke that only Deadpool is able to understand. Breaking the fourth wall. Speaking of talking to himself, there's one other group that Deadpool talks to all the time. People that almost no other comic book character is able to understand, or even know exists. You.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break.
Yes, you, video watcher. Thanks bunches, by the way. Lots of people in comics have super speed, strength, or even super hair like Medusa of the Inhumans. No one else seemingly has the ability to always speak directly to the reader but Deadpool. His ability to speak outside the panels gives off the appearance that he's one of the looniest Marvel characters. Make no mistake, Deadpool is not a Looney Tune. He's a comic book character who knows it. He reminds his readers and viewers often. In every form of media Deadpool has taken, he's spoken to those looking at him. Ryan Reynolds spoke to the movie audiences. All of his video game appearances have moments where he knows he's being played and he's not too thrilled about it, including calling the writers of the script script of the game during the game to complain about his actions. The producers of the first movie said they wanted to keep the fourth wall breaking to a minimum, didn't want to ruin it by overdoing it. We're hopeful they kick it up a notch for the sequel. Bags of holding. First, +1 internet point if you knew what bags of holding meant before we tell you in this entry. The geek is strong with you, Padawan.
I know, right?
For the rest of you, a bag of holding is a term from Dungeons & Dragons that refers to a magical bag that could hold items much bigger than its actual size. Whatever you needed to fight monsters, you just put in your fancy fanny pack and then head out to cause some medieval mayhem. While Wade Wilson might be more likely to shove a D&D player in a locker,
Fake laugh.
portions of his outfit may as well be crafted in the Forgotten Realms. When Deadpool was first created, pouches were experiencing a fashion explosion. Every character had to have more pouches. Pouches, pouches, pouches. Deadpool was no exception. Sure, Batman had pouches. He needs to hold his bat wallet after all, but most of them seemed to serve a purpose. DP's did not. Thankfully, as the character developed, he started to find more and more things he could keep on him. Over the years, it seems Deadpool's pouches have become bags of holding, capable of carrying weapons, artifacts, aliens, and usually lunch. Anti-Venom. No, we don't mean the Marvel character called Anti-Venom, which, as you can surmise, is the opposite of Venom, or Eddie Brock, previously played by Topher Grace and about to be portrayed by Tom Hardy. We mean that Deadpool is seemingly immune to the effects of the symbiote that is at the core of Venom, Carnage, and several other ferociously named foes of Spider-Man and sometimes Deadpool.
I know, right?
Deadpool's had several run-ins with the symbiotic aliens that create killers from the people they overtake. The symbiote takes over the mind and body of its host. Even the nicest of people, Peter Parker, turned into a jerkwad after donning his new black suit. You know, going all emo and then taking tango lessons. At least according to Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3. But Deadpool's mind isn't like everyone's. Anyone's. An apparent advantage of having several personalities rolling around upstairs is that the symbiotes can't take over his brain. During the recent miniseries, Deadpool Back in Black, Venom had possessed people more powers out of the deal, including webbing and tentacles. Teleportation. One of our favorite Deadpool powers is yet to show up in the movies, but we're hopeful that Ryan Reynolds will let his geek flag fly and bring one of the more unusual powers and technologies that Deadpool has used in the comics. If you don't know by now, Deadpool was a villain when he first started. In his first mission, he was tasked with taking out his future BFF, Cable. The mission didn't go well.
Zip it, Sinead.
Not sure if Deadpool got hit in the feels, or maybe he was still learning what was in each pouch, but he had to skedaddle quickly from the fight as his future movie co-stars Domino and Cable took him to task. How'd he get away from two powerful mutants? He had his own personal teleportation device. Duh. He actually had this power in X-Men Origins Wolverine during his final battle with Logan and Sabretooth. He disappears momentarily and then reappears behind his fellow combatant. That might be one of the only things that movie got right about Deadpool.
I know, right?
In the comics, it's usually more of a magic box than a superpower. After a while, his teleporter went on the fritz, and the current version doesn't use one anymore as the characters declared them unfair to his opponents. Appearance manipulation. One of Deadpool's most distinguishable features is his awful appearance.
Do you like what you see? No.
As his apparent super cancer attacks his body, his super healing fights it off. It gives Wade Wilson great powers, which he doesn't use with great responsibility, but his healing power can't quite seem to conquer the cancer, leaving Wade heavily disfigured. The movie even spent time tossing vivid and vulgar descriptions for Wade's predicament. Thankfully, Wilson's made lemonade out of ugly avocados, and he started wearing a mask to not scare people. Writer Joe Kelly began adding some powers to Deadpool during his run. One of these was a holographic image inducer that allowed Deadpool to change his appearance. Given his desire to find love or even friends, the ability to look handsome again is something that would be welcomed by Wade Wilson. Plus, it would come in handy during his missions, sneaking behind enemy lines. It would also make him great at hide and seek at the Avengers Christmas party. Sadly, because of Deadpool's fractured psyche, the image inducer had a tendency to flip between different looks every few seconds. The inability to hold on to one image forced Deadpool to retire the device. Unfortunately, Wade Wilson will be forced to live with the face of Ryan Reynolds crossed with a Sharpay. Direct line to death. We mentioned earlier that Deadpool can't die. At least no one has figured out how to permanently put an end to the Merc with a mouth. Maybe because of this, Deadpool has found himself himself on more than one occasion, flirting with the actual personification of death itself. Herself. It'd be easy to chalk this up to a hallucination if it weren't for the fact that one other person has the privilege of socializing with death without actually dying. That other person is Thanos. The Mad Titan has courted Lady Death for quite some time. It was part of the reason he wanted to assemble the Infinity Gauntlet and destroy the Avengers. He's also a jealous dude and doesn't like it when someone puts the move on the object of his affection. Since the MCU and Fox Marvel worlds aren't sharing yet, we doubt we'll get to see this story play out in Avengers Infinity War. Though Ryan Reynolds will get him some Josh Brolin time when Cable shows up in Deadpool 2.
Time to make the chimichangas.
If Death isn't returning Deadpool's texts, he can always hit up his current comic wife, Shikla, vampire queen of the underworld. She may not be Death herself, but she does have an army of demons and monsters at her command.
There, all caught up.
Did you know Deadpool had all that? He has all that and a bag of chips, and more powers than we mentioned. Let us know your favorite Deadpool power in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video.
We all love seeing our favorite Marvel heroes on the big screen, yet we often find ourselves taking their various gadgets for granted. But today, we're showing our appreciation for some of the most powerful weapons and tools to ever make an appearance in the MCU. While some of them were forged in the mighty fires of Asgard, others come straight from planet Earth. But before we take a look at all the craziest and most powerful weapons and gear in the Marvel Universe, subscribe to CBR and ring that bell to join our notification squad so you never miss any of our MCU videos. Iron Man armor. Without his special suit, Tony Stark has to settle for simply being a billion. Millionaire genius playboy philanthropist. I know, it's so sad, but with his Iron Man suit, he becomes an exceptionally powerful superhero. In many ways, Iron Man is the backbone of the Avengers. And has brought together many different characters to fight evil together. Sure, they've had their disagreements. Way to go, Bucky. But this doesn't diminish their accomplishments, and if it wasn't for this...
Hey, Mom! Do we make cookies? Mama! Mom! Do we make cookies?
ultra high-tech armor, none of this would have been possible. Any suit with just the power to make mortal man a superhero is awesome in our book. Thanks, Robert. Yaka.
Why are they fucking
During Guardians of the Galaxy, we saw that simple arrow can lead Yondu to victory with... Even when he's greatly outnumbered. It's so powerful that, in the MCU, Yondu only carries around a single Yaka arrow, which is all he needs to get the job done. Oh, and of course his special fin on the top of his head. Oh no, that's a human toe. Oh god. Shield. The shield wielded by Captain America is so much more than a simple weapon. It's a cultural...
Thanos. Might he be the MCU's only unbeatable bad guy? After the end of Infinity War, that's what it looks like. Thanos has won, and we're all wondering how the Avengers and friends can make him unwin. Here's our list of MCU characters that could beat Thanos, including those who didn't survive the snap. Before we begin, subscribe to CBR and ring that bell to join our notification squad so you never miss a video. Without further ado, here are all the MCU characters who could theoretically beat Thanos.
I can fly, I'm indestructible, and I shoot energy beams out of my hands. Feels pretty awesome.
Captain Marvel. Let's get the obvious out of the way. Captain Marvel is going to be instrumental in beating Thanos, because Captain Marvel is basically Superman. Okay, we know, we just jumped DC Comics, but think about it. DC came first, and one of their first heroes was Superman. Because Superman is all-powerful, the heroes that came after it, regardless of their publishing company, needed to be different, and different usually